Hey there, I want to talk to you today about how I sell to chefs and not just overall strategy, because I've done that before in other videos and interviewed chefs and had their opinions about how to approach them and all that kind of stuff. But today I want to talk very specifically about the nuts and bolts and how I sell to chefs, going through how I communicate with them, how I get orders, how I do my invoicing, how I package and deliver, collect payment, and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you're new to the channel or you just like some context of what I'm going to be talking about today, my name is Josh Satin. I have a small market garden growing vegetables in Raleigh, North Carolina, and at the moment I am selling 100% to chefs and restaurants in Raleigh, North Carolina. And before I get into the details here, I want to put out a disclaimer like I usually do in my videos that this is just what I do. This is not the right way to do anything. There is no right way to do any of this stuff, but I like to share what I do so to give you guys some ideas and inspiration if you are looking to sell to chefs or maybe looking to improve some of the things or change some of the stuff that you're doing. So that's what I'm going to show you here today and talk about. One thing that you have to keep in mind, which I talk about a lot, is it's really all about relationships and communication with your chefs and your customers in general. If you can keep a really strong relationship with them, that's going to be the most important thing. If something happens where you can't deliver, you need to let them know as soon as possible. So I want to give you the overall timeline here and my schedule. So I deliver once a week to restaurants, which is on Wednesdays. Right now it is Saturday, and this is kind of when the whole process starts and happens every week. So today what I'm going to do here is I'm going to walk through the farm here and figure out what I have for sale. I already have a pretty good idea because I have a very small farm, but if you have a bigger farm, you might want to take a field walk, go through, think about what you have for sale this week, what you have good amounts of quantity of, what you don't have good amounts of quantity of, what's coming up soon, and maybe take notes if you have to walk around more or keep it on your phone or whatever, so you have that information. So I'll walk through here, figure out what's going on, and then we'll get in touch with the chefs. So I'm a little bit further down in that high tunnel, and you can see I'm surrounded by an abundance of produce right now. I have a lot of produce growing. We got cucumbers and lettuce and beets and peppers in here and some other stuff going on. And at the moment, I am growing more than I'm selling, and that's not for lack of sales. I have some of the best sales I've ever had on the farm, but I think it's a combination of restaurants are just opening back up right now, and my farm is really coming online for the first time this spring as I've rebooted the farm, as you guys probably know. So it's been trying to find a balance there, but the good thing about having more food than you're selling is that all the chefs are going to get exactly what they ordered, right? You're not going to like short them on anything. But I think in an ideal world, you kind of want it to be like just running out every week, and that way there's no waste, and also it kind of creates a bigger demand for your products if you're selling out. So that's cool too, but I'm not quite there yet, and we'll get all that stuff sorted out. So once you get your list of things you're going to sell, you're going to write a text message. And I said, for me, the thing here is that most chefs are either off Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. So I talked to a lot of them about the schedule, and it seemed like Wednesday was the best delivery day for a few reasons. One is, they're trying to get the produce in before the weekend, obviously, but they have a couple more days to prep it before the weekend if it comes in earlier in the week. So Wednesday seems to make more sense for me. Also, that way my harvest and delivery day is in the middle of the week and doesn't fall like closer to a weekend or something like that. So that kind of works out better for me. And because they're often off on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, I send out the text messages on Saturday. So at least if they're off on Sunday, they have a chance to see that while they're in the restaurant and make up their mind for orders. So in that text message, I just keep it, you got to keep it really simple. I'll say like, get order in by Monday, delivery on Wednesday, and then I'll list all the things I have for sale with prices. And at the bottom, if I have anything coming up soon or anything that I need to tell them, that's where it goes in. And it's got to be really concise and really accurate and really easy to read. And I think that's important because if you've ever been in the back of a kitchen or seen what's going on there, you know it can be hectic, and there could be in the middle of 15 things when you send them a text message. So they prefer text over email, but of course, if your chef wants email, do whatever they prefer. But for me, I've just noticed that everybody likes text messages. And also, with that list of produce that I have there, if I am selling something slightly different for each chef, like if I promise something to one chef or something like that, like I can just change that depending on, each text that I send out. But generally, everyone gets the same list, and it's pretty straightforward. And that's about it. Just make sure you're accurate with them, keep it simple, and I'll wait for the orders to come in. I'll get them by Monday. I'll keep track of that. And it's pretty simple, but I'm gonna go take care of those text messages now because it's Saturday afternoon, and we'll see you guys in a couple days. All right, it's Monday afternoon, and I've had a pretty crazy day today, and if you watched the last vlog, you'll know what happened today. It's kind of confusing with all these videos, but anyways, it was a busy day, and I got all my orders in, and so the way I keep track of them is on a basic spreadsheet that I have ready to go every week. And I'd show it to you, but it has all the names of my customers on there, and I don't really want to do that. But across the top are all my customers. Going down, I have just blanks. and then I just handwrite in the crops that I have for the week, and on the right I have a total of all of the pounds for each one, so lettuce and carrots and all that stuff. I also keep track of the harvest date and delivery date on here, and this keeps a really good record for me also from week to week, so I know what I sold. Now I could put this in some sort of electronic form, and there's software, and for me this is working really well. It's very simple. Maybe in the future, but for me, again, this is really simple, and I do have a record of it, and it just seems to be working really well for me. Some things I actually really do just like writing on a piece of paper or clipboard. It just makes things a little bit easier for me. So when the orders come in, I just jot them down here in my little spreadsheet, and then I just send a quick confirmation to that chef and saying thank you. And oftentimes in Monday afternoon, I'll have to send out a couple of gentle reminders to my customers and just say, hey, just checking in. Do you want to put in an order for this week? And it's totally cool to do that. You can definitely send them a little bit of a reminder. A lot of times they forget, or they just put things off. They're really busy. They totally understand, and they often really appreciate when you do reach out to them. So again, that's how I keep track of it. And for me, then I know how much I have to harvest, and I should be really good with this amount of data right here and going into the harvest. Now, usually I just harvest the next day, which would be Tuesday, but today I got a couple orders in yesterday and I could kind of see what was going on. So I started harvesting some carrots already today, and I just had a big order. It's actually the biggest week I've ever had. So I'm trying to make sure I get all the harvesting done. Now, one thing is I don't want to, if I think I'm gonna be short on something, I will definitely let them know. As I said, make sure you let them know if you're gonna be short on something, or potentially short, and you'll let them know. Now, I don't get my invoicing done till after the harvest, but I'll talk about all of that tomorrow after the harvest is done. All right, so it's Tuesday afternoon, and I am done with the harvest, all cleaned up, and I'm in my office now about to do the invoicing. So I want to talk to you for a few minutes about invoicing, and it's pretty straightforward what I do. I use Square, and this video is not sponsored by Square, but it is free. I signed up years ago, and it's been great. I just basically use it for basic invoicing. One of the cool things, they accept electronic payments too. So if someone wants to pay you with a credit card, you can do that, and I've done that for, if I have to send invoices to people remotely for other things that I do, it's great. You do pay a transaction fee, so when I'm getting payments from restaurants, I really like to get a check because there's no transaction fee for the credit card and stuff like that. So I'm a pretty basic user with Square, but essentially just sign up for an account if you want, and you just set up all your customers, you set up your items, and put in the price per pound, and then you just can create an invoice, and it's pretty straightforward. The cool thing about when you create the invoice is that it'll send an email to the customer, so they get an immediate copy of the invoice. So they have an electronic copy, but also they get notification about what they're actually going to be getting tomorrow. And that's why I like to wait to do the invoicing till after I'm fully done with the harvest, because that way if I was short on something, I don't have to go and change the invoice and create all that confusion. It doesn't happen very often lately, but when you first start out, you might have that problem. So that's why I just always wait till I'm done. I'll create the invoices, and then I'll print out 2 copies, and I'll take them with me on delivery day, and I'll have the chef sign one of the copies, and I'll keep that, and they'll also give me a check, and then they'll keep the other copy as their record. I've never had someone say, hey, Josh, I didn't get the lettuce. Do you have proof? That's never happened, but I think it's good practice to do that. Cool thing about Square too is that you can categorize all of your sales, and you can look at sales trends and how much of each thing you sold and all that kind of stuff. So again, I'm a really basic user, but it's been working well for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the invoicing, and then tomorrow I will show you about how I get all the stuff out to the chefs and all the gear and all that kind of stuff. So should I do another hand transition? Yeah, all right. All right, it's Wednesday morning, and I'm about to start packing up all my produce to bring out to the restaurants, and I want to get into a lot of the nitty-gritty here because I know that can be helpful for you guys in terms of gear and packaging and all that kind of stuff. But before we do that, I need to take a minute to talk about today's show sponsor, which is Osborne Quality Seeds. None of this market gardening would be possible without companies like Osborne providing excellent, high-quality seeds for all of us to grow our vegetables with. I've had great success with their seeds, and a lot of the stuff I'm growing this year has come from Osborne. I really recommend you checking them out. I know there's a few options out there for seed companies, but Osborne's great, not only in terms of the quality of their seeds, but also in getting the right seeds for you to grow in your context and your climate. So I really recommend you checking them out. I'll leave links down below, and I also want to thank them for sponsoring this channel. All right, so let's get into talking about some of the stuff here. Let's talk gear. So first of all, scales. Now, I have 2 different scales that I use, and I've tried a bunch. One is this mechanical scale, which I absolutely love. I don't usually have this in the wash station. This is a field scale. And what I'll do is I'll put my totes on here so that as I'm harvesting, I'll have a sense of how much I'm harvesting so I get the right amount into the pack house. I like a mechanical scale for this because once you tear it, it doesn't turn off and forget, and it's just pretty, durable, never runs out of batteries. So I really recommend having a mechanical scale like that for in the field. Now, in the wash station, I love this scale. This was an expensive scale, and I'll leave links down below for everything that I talk about. I've used a lot of cheaper scales, and you wind up wanting a good one. So something that's reliable, something you can trust, and then you don't make sure you want to be shorting your customers as well. So having a good scale is super important. I've gone to one bag, and as I said, I'll leave links down below for this. It's just one bag, and this is what I use for everything for restaurants. When I was doing, home delivery and stuff, I had smaller bags, but I've just been using one bag. Keeps it really simple. And then I just wrap a rubber band around the top of it, and that's it for packaging. I often, I'll write with a Sharpie right on the bag how many pounds it is, but all my lettuce is, that's most of my products. I'm just putting them in 2-pound bags, so I just do 2-pound bags, and it's pretty simple. All right, so I'm gonna start packing this up, and I'll show you how I do that with the coolers and all the stuff I use for that. So I stress this a lot with you guys, but also with my customers, that I really focus on the quality and freshness of the produce. And I take a lot of care in the way I harvest it, and then store it cold, and do everything sort of the day before, so it's nice and fresh for the customers. But there's another detail in that I take a lot of care in how I transport the produce, and I use coolers with ice packs, and I'll show you how I pack one of those coolers and the stuff involved. But I found that, if I'm out for a couple hours doing deliveries and I have multiple stops, the car will sit out there, and I try to find shade sometimes, but it can get hot in the car. And I don't want the produce to be damaged in that last couple hours. We put a lot of care into growing this, and we're charging a lot for our food, and so we want to make sure it arrives really nicely. So I have 6 of these big coolers. I originally got these from BJ's, but I just went to go get some more, and they didn't have them. But I'll leave a link down below for this. There's nothing special about these coolers, but they've worked really well for me. I don't know, and I like them. So let me get one of these out and pack it up and show you how that works. All right, so here's the cooler, and I want to talk about ice packs and some specifics and how I pack them. I used to use these sort of more disposable ice packs, but they just started leaking, and they're kind of a mess to deal with. So what I did is I invested in these, and they were a little bit pricey, but I've been so happy with them for a few reasons. One is they're super cold, and they stay cold for, I think they're rated for staying cold for days. But the nice thing is they're super thin and wide, so they take up a lot of surface area in the bottom, which is great, but not a lot of volume in the cooler. Also, they're great in the freezer because I can put a whole stack of these and it doesn't take up a whole freezer, which is great, and it's very efficient in there. So I just put this down on the bottom. You can probably get away with 2 if you're gonna do this for a long time, but 1's been working pretty well. And if you guys have ever done this before, you'll know that you have to be really careful with putting vegetables in here because, especially greens, it'll freeze the greens and then it'll destroy them. So you can put a thick towel down sometimes and that'll work too, but what I found was, even with this ice pack, it was still damaging the greens. So I've been using this guy, this daisy tray, which I've used, I put my, some of my larger starts in here. I have a bunch of these. So I just put this over it just to keep it, give a little bit of space between the ice pack and the veggies. And then I put a towel in here and I'm ready to go then. And this is what 2 pounds of lettuce looks like. I can get 6 of these bags, so 12 pounds in a cooler. You just want to make sure you're not squishing it. And you can see already, just being out of the cooler for a few minutes here, it's super humid today and nice and warm, is that you can put a lot of damage on these very quickly. So I'm gonna get this packed up, and then I'll talk to you more about how I transport all this stuff. All right, got the van loaded up. That's right, I got a van. And if you've been following along the channel, you know that I was driving a wagon for the longest time, and I was talking about recently I needed to upgrade it to something larger, and that's what I did. So I want to talk about vehicles for a second. The wagon was great. I got my farm started with that, and it's a very versatile vehicle. And I thought about getting a commercial delivery van, like a Ford Transit Connect or something like that. I just didn't want to own another vehicle, and I'd rather I took that money that I would have invested in that and invested in a upgraded van for here, for our family. This is not a brand new van, but new to me, and I'm really excited about it. I usually drive really old cars, and this one's a lot nicer than my old wagon. So the benefits about the minivan is that, first of all, I thought about getting a truck, but the benefits here is that it actually holds more in a minivan. I have 6 coolers in here now. but the middle row is still in there. And if I take the middle row out, I get at least 8 coolers in here, which is great. And the other thing is that the air conditioning is running in here. So while I'm driving around, it stays cool in here, and that's another benefit. And I don't have to like strap things down. And I thought about getting like a camper shell for the back of a pickup, but that would get super hot in the summertime. So this seems to be the best option for me. And the other thing is the kids love it. And it's great for our family dynamic. I just didn't want to own 3 vehicles. It's just, I like to keep things as super simple as I can. A lot of you guys recommended a trailer, which I think can be beneficial and can work in a lot of situations. But for me, in my context, it does not work. I deliver downtown, I have to parallel park a lot, and having a trailer would just complicate things so much for me. And you guys know me, I like streamlining, simplicity, and just like getting things done as quickly as possible. So that's what I went with. I'm really excited about it. I never thought I'd be excited about owning a minivan, but it's really just the most versatile vehicle out there, and it's good on gas, and I can lock it up, which is great because I'm going downtown. So all those things, super cool, all loaded up. I'm gonna go and do my deliveries. So I'm off doing my deliveries, and a couple things I want to talk about here is, first of all, get in the mindset of a delivery day. I think a lot of us try to rush through this and, I just gotta get my deliveries done, I got other things going on, but don't rush through it because there's a lot of opportunity here, and I actually enjoy this part of it for a few reasons. But one is you get to be in the restaurants with your customers, right? You're talking to the people that are buying your food, and you get to see what's going on there, talk about things that they're excited about, let them know about things that are coming up, get feedback about your products, see what they might be wanting. So there's a lot of opportunity there to build on those relationships. And I know I talk about the relationships all the time, but it is the most important thing with all of this. So that's super important. Now, also keep in mind about what time you're delivering to the restaurants, because I have my sort of route based on, what time the chefs will be there. Now, sometimes you can go earlier in the day and there might be someone there that can accept the delivery, like a line cook or something like that. But the reality is they may not be able to write you a check, and then you have to come back another time, and you want to get paid right away and not have to think much about it. Also, find out when the chef is going to be there, or at least the sous chef, because then you can, connect with them, and it's important that you do that, and they're the ones ordering from you. So they can also usually write you a check, so that's also super important. So keep that in mind when you're trying to set up your delivery route. I have 8 stops today, so it'll take me at least a few hours. They're all located pretty close together. Another pro tip here is track your miles when you're driving, because it's a good tax deduction. I use an app called Stride, no affiliation. I'll put a link down below. It's great. You just start and stop it when you get in and out of the car, and then you have a record of it. Super easy. So anyways, I'm gonna go take care of these deliveries, and then we'll chat a little bit more. One of my favorite customers, we got Chef Kevin here, and you've probably seen Kevin in some older videos.
I have.
So has it been helpful the way I've been, communicating, invoicing, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's actually super helpful. He sends reminders day of. You also remind me and make sure that I didn't forget to send you something that day or a couple days earlier. I actually had already had a check filled out for you because you sent me an invoice over email, so I can have that ready for you. We're not waiting around, and we can just kind of get on with our day, chit chat, and move on. So it's been really helpful.
Awesome. I know you guys are super busy, so anything I can do to help you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it as well.
All right, man. Appreciate everything.
Of course.
All right, so getting home from deliveries, and it went pretty well. Big thanks to Kevin and all the other chefs out there that I work with. Everyone's been amazing. So just trying to give you guys as much value as possible. And as I said before, there's no right way to do this stuff. This is just what I'm doing, and I want to share it with you, give you some ideas, maybe some things you can improve on, or give you some inspiration to get started selling to chefs. And hopefully you found some value out of this and you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next one.